Alright, my phone's at 18%. My hair is starting to fall out of this headband, but I think we got this. Hi everyone, my name is Maddie and welcome back to my channel, or thanks for joining me if you're new here, and welcome back to Webcomic Wednesday. I would say what number episode we're on, but I got it wrong the last 3 times, so we're just gonna go with it. If you're new to this series, I'll link the playlist up above that has the introduction video and kind of links you to everything else that's going on. But yes, every Wednesday we come together, we discuss some webcomics, we have some deals, and then y'all go on with your lives, I guess. You read them or you don't. So today's webcomic is called Heavy Horns, and it is by Joanne Kwan. And it is a completed series. I really lucked out when I sat down to read it. It just happened to be finished 2 or 3 days before I read it, so that was super awesome because I got to read it all in one sitting because I have no self-control. I read it on Tapas. I don't know if it's available anywhere, but I will take a look, and as always, all that information will be down below if you want to check it out yourself. This comic follows Bo and Andreas, and Andreas was born with horns. It's just some, like, weird thing that happens in his family that they maybe or maybe not, the webcomic will get into, and he is a model. He meets Bo at a bar. They knew each other briefly when they were kids, and then from there they're trying to figure out how they're going to get along, whether they're going to be friends, and whether something will be developing from there. Trigger warnings, just to get them out of the way. There is a lot of swearing, there's drinking. It can get NSFW at parts because of Tapas. There's like a lot of like censoring done, but if that's not something you're comfortable with, be aware. Tapas is pretty good for marking things as mature, and the author does a pretty good job of marking things as mature when they need to be. Besides that, there is references to homophobic language, as well as there is a hate crime committed against Bo, who is gay, so if that's something that you're not comfortable with reading, please take care of yourselves first, and as always, feel free to message me if you want more explicit information about when those scenes happen, so I can help you avoid them, so you can enjoy the comic to the best of your abilities. To dive a little bit more into the plot, I guess, so yes, the story starts with Bo and Andreas meeting at a bar. Andreas gets beat up because someone's using homophobic slurs. Head back to Bo's apartment to get him some ice. There, Bo kind of tells him that, you know, he was kind of this, like, shy, chubby kid, and someone was making fun of him, and this boy headbutted someone and, like, ended up, like, stabbing them in the gut because the kid had horns. And he was like, I thought it might be you, and I was really drunk, and I just wanted to see you. Also, I think you're kind of hot. Smooth. They're both very smooth in this. And then they kind of decide that basically, or Bo was just kind of like, you know what, I mean, I wanted to hook up with you, but we can just be friends, so let's just hang out. And then from there, there's kind of this whole, like, on-again, off-again thing before the development of their relationship. One of the other big plot points is the fact that Andreas has these horns, and as a result he faces a lot of discrimination because of that, or people are very rude to him, or they treat him differently because of his horns, and he's also trying to figure out his family history. There's also these little letters, like, sprinkled throughout the beginning of the book, and the identity of who is writing them is something that's a little bit of a mystery that gets answered later in the webcomic. So to dive into characters a little bit more, I'll talk about our main 2 dudes. So there is Andreas, who is a model, and that's kind of what he's delved his career into. One of the things that I think is kind of cool about Andreas is he has a tag on his ear that has, like, his birth date and his mother's maiden name that's supposed to, like, resemble the tags that dairy cows wear, and he also has a, I don't know what that piercing is called, a septum piercing, I think it is, the ones that kind of make you look like a horn that they would put through a bull, and he kind of has this way of embracing his identity because he's kind of like, if people are gonna make fun of me for it anyways, then, like, might as well just embrace it and be who I am. He does have a little bit of anger and aggression in him because of his past and trying to tell the world fuck you, but also recognizing that at the same time the world has hurt him and what they've done has been really difficult and detrimental to him growing up, especially because the horns are something that he can't control, so him learning to live with that is a huge portion of the comic. On the other hand, we have Beau, and Beau's from, I believe he's from like a farm in the country, and he's a little bit more like outspoken than Andreas is. Like the fact that he tries to pick someone up at a bar and then it's just like, let's be friends. Like I feel like that kind of sums up his whole personality. He is a bartender, and he's also just like genuinely a very nice guy. One of the things that I really appreciate about Beau is he's very much like, I'm gonna tell you what's on my mind, and he's just very much like, this is how I live my life. Very unapologetic, which kind of works as an interesting contrast to Andreas as well. Andreas, I think, is trying to be unapologetic in the way that he lives his life. I think there is still a part of him that really is struggling with this piece of his identity, whereas Beau seems a little bit more steady in his own body and kind of embracing himself. There are like other cast of characters as well. Beau's family plays a huge part in the story, as well as Andreas's family, especially when he goes to try and explore his past and figure out where these horns came from, as well as some of the modeling friends that Andreas has as well. Families are great. Andreas' family in particular is like incredible with the way that they just casually like, they're like, yeah, our people in our family just have horns sometimes, and that's just how this works. Things that I really love about this webcomic, or why you should read it. One, I think, is just the metaphor for difference. Like, obviously this is a queer webcomic, so those conversations come up, especially when there are people who are being blatantly homophobic or not great to Beau and Andreas. I guess in some ways it works as like a very obvious physical disability, like some of those conversations that people have with Andreas, or like their split-second reactions to him, are very much similar to ones that I've seen where people are like, a kid's like, oh my gosh, the person doesn't have an arm, and then their parents like trying to drag them away and like ignore the fact that that's just genuinely like, yeah, the person doesn't have an arm. So it works as a form of physical difference, but as well as just a general metaphor for being different, and the ways that having something different about you can impact your life in ways that you internalize, as well as external experiences of the world around you, which I think is a really nice story. I also appreciate the fact that this is a very unconventional romance story in the way that it comes together. I feel like a lot of romance stories are very like cut and dry, and they kind of follow those tropes, but the way that these conversations happen, the way that they kind of become friends and then slowly progress to something more, takes a very different format, and they don't really like each other at first. Like Andreas in particular is very much like, I don't know who this guy is, he's kind of weird, but I guess I'll roll with it. And it was kind of refreshing to read something that had a different take on that. Oh, the story is so good. I just remember reading it for the first time and like hitting the emotional climax towards the end, and I think I like literally gasped out loud and then texted my friend and was like, I don't know what's happening, this is so stressful. Yeah, other things just to talk about. The art style is wonderful. I don't know why, I just find characters with horns really cool. If you've ever read the series Saga, Marco in that is just really fascinating to me. I think they're just kind of like fun to draw on people for some reason. I was actually drawing a bunch of characters with horns after I read this. I left some ink and I like messaged the author that, and they were like, hey, go for it. Glad that I inspired you. The model shoots that usually break up each chapter, it has like a picture of Andreas in a particular outfit or something like that. Stellar. So well done. Something that I really appreciate. The only thing was the ending. I wished there was a little bit more at the ending, but hey, we're all about positivity and recommending things here on Webcomic Wednesdays, so it was worth it. It was definitely worth it to be able to read it all, and to get to read it all in one sitting was great. I think that's where I'm going to leave it for now. I feel like there's more that I should have talked about, or maybe there's more that I've talked about in past videos. I don't really know. But yeah, that's Heavy Horns. If you guys have read it, please feel free to share your thoughts, or if you have any other webcomic recommendations or anything else you'd like to share. I always love hearing from you guys and reading all of your comments. Otherwise, make sure you subscribe and ring that bell to get notifications for the next Webcomic Wednesday. And as always, my Goodreads and art Instagram are linked below if you want to follow me there. So thanks for tuning in. I think we're getting close to 10 episodes, but I'm not going to say a number because I don't trust myself. And yeah, that's it, and I'll see you all in the next video.